The old man had seen war, but nothing prepared him for the sight lying on the dusty road that evening, a young biker, bruised, bleeding, and barely conscious, sprawled beside a wrecked motorcycle. The sun was sinking behind the distant hills, painting the sky with fire, but the stranger's life seemed to be fading even faster. The veteran's tired boots slid through the dirt as he rushed forward, his joints aching, his breath uneven with age. His world had been quiet, forgotten, and painfully slow, until destiny crawled right up to his fence, gasping for help. He didn't know it yet, but this single act of kindness was about to shake the entire country, and change his life forever. Backhand index pointing right. If you believe in kindness, humanity, and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe right now. Your support keeps these powerful stories alive. The veteran's name was Samuel Hartley, a man who had once survived the sandstorms of distant wars but now lived alone on a broken patch of farmland. The world had moved on without him, his family scattered, his savings eaten by medical bills, and his spirit thinned out like worn fabric. Neighbors rarely visited, and the government checks barely kept the lights on. But despite all the emptiness, Samuel's heart was still good. Perhaps too good for the world he lived in. When he found the biker collapsed by his fence, he didn't think of danger, gang trouble, or consequences. He only saw a human being facing the edge of death. He dragged the young man into the shade near his shed, his old muscles trembling from the effort. Dust clung to Samuel's palms like chalk as he opened the one bottle of cold water he had left that day, the one he had saved for himself because the heat had been unforgiving. Without a second thought, he pressed it into the biker's shaking hand. The young man drank like someone who had crawled through deserts. Blood streaked down his temple. His leather jacket was torn. His breathing rattled with exhaustion. Samuel wiped dirt from the man's forehead with an old cloth and whispered encouragement, though he wasn't sure the man could even hear him. Samuel had no idea who this stranger was or where he was from. He simply stayed there with him until the sun slipped into darkness and the crickets began humming. Hours later, when the biker finally regained enough strength to sit up, Samuel fed him whatever little he had, half a can of beans, a few crackers, and another bottle of water he boiled earlier. He never asked questions. Never demanded anything. When the biker could finally stand, Samuel helped him push the damaged motorcycle to the roadside. The man left quietly, limping into the night with a nod that carried silent gratitude. Samuel believed that was the end of it. Just another life he'd helped, just as he'd done countless times across battlefields, refugee zones, and disaster sites. But this time, destiny had taken notes. A week passed. A slow, quiet week. Samuel spent it fixing fences, tending to the few chickens he still had, and mending the old jacket he wore every winter. His life was humble and gray, but still, he moved through it with a gentle dignity. He never once thought of the biker again, never imagined that the man's story was spreading like wildfire through a world Samuel knew nothing about. Then, the day came. It began with a faint hum in the distance. Samuel thought it was thunder. But the sky was clear, too clear. The hum grew louder, deeper, like rolling mountains of metal. His old dog barked wildly, pacing the porch. Samuel stepped outside, shielding his eyes from the sun, and what he saw made his heart stop cold. A line of motorcycles, hundreds at first, then thousands, snaked down the long dirt road, engines roaring like an approaching army. Dust billowed behind them. Chrome gleamed. Leather jackets filled the landscape. They came in formation, disciplined and powerful, stretching farther than Samuel's eyes could see. 2,000 bikers. Maybe more. They surrounded his property without aggression, without chaos, just presence. A presence so overwhelming it made Samuel's breath catch. At the front, a man dismounted, a familiar limp, a familiar jacket, now stitched and cleaned. It was the biker he had saved. But today he stood strong, surrounded by riders wearing the unmistakable insignia of one of the largest motorcycle clubs in the country. Samuel suddenly realized who he had helped. The biker stepped forward with emotion in his eyes. He spoke words Samuel would never forget, that Samuel had saved him when he had nothing to offer, that no one had ever treated him as gently, as humanely, as this old man had. The biker explained that Samuel's kindness had rippled through the entire club, stirring something in men who rarely felt softness or safety. They had come not for vengeance, but for gratitude. Then the gifts began. Truckloads of food, lumber, tools, medicine, and clothes were unloaded onto Samuel's lawn. Mechanics repaired his old truck. Carpenters rebuilt his porch. Electricians restored his wiring. Some men dug a new well. Others brought livestock, fencing, seeds, and supplies. They moved like a determined crew that knew how to get things done. Samuel stood there, overwhelmed, his hands shaking, not from fear, but from disbelief. These were men society judged harshly. Men feared on the roads. Men whose reputations were wrapped in rumors and shadows. Yet here they were, mending the life of someone who had shown them genuine kindness. Someone who didn't care about badges, jackets, or rumors. Someone who helped because helping was simply the right thing to do. By evening, Samuel's home looked like a different world. His farm was alive again, full of laughter, noise, and renewed hope. The biker approached him one last time and placed Samuel's own water bottle, now polished and engraved, into his hands. A symbol of how something so small could change everything. Samuel felt tears gather in his eyes as the engines began to rumble again, one by one. Before leaving, the biker said something that pierced straight through Samuel's heart, "You saved one of us, so all of us stand with you." Then they rode away, leaving trails of dust and the echo of thunder in their wake. That night, Samuel sat on his rebuilt porch, staring at the stars with a renewed sense of purpose. After years of loneliness, of quiet suffering, of fading into the background of the world, kindness had brought him back into the light. It reminded him that humanity still existed in unexpected places, in unexpected people, and that one small act of compassion could ignite a storm of goodness. Backhand index pointing right. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, share it, and subscribe to support more emotional stories like this. Your engagement truly matters. Speech balloon before you leave, comment below, kindness still exists.